And we're back. Sorry for the little hiatus last week. Things were kind of crazy and hectic. I think I alluded to that early on when I started this little midweek devotional project. That once seminary started back, things are going to get a little crazy, and they did. So that's why we missed last week. But I'm back this week, and I want to talk about something that you guys have likely heard before. That idea of the harvest being plentiful and the laborers being few. So I want to dive into that for just a few moments and kind of talk about what that means and kind of what that looks like in your life and in my life. Thanks for stopping by. So, our passage today is going to be coming from the Gospel of Matthew. Matthew chapter 9. I'm going to start in verse 35 and read through verse 38. We're going to get to hear what Christ has to say here, as I alluded to in the opening, that idea of the harvest being plentiful and the laborers being few. So let's hear this word. Verse 35, it starts and says, "And Jesus went throughout all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and proclaiming the gospel of the kingdom and healing every disease and every affliction. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion for them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, 'The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest.'" So the question is, what is Jesus talking about here? What is it that Jesus is getting at? Well, that idea of him looking upon the crowd and having compassion on them, I believe the same thing, the same words are used. The feeding of the 5,000, maybe it's I think it's the feeding of the 5,000 that we're told the same kind of thing, and Jesus has the same reaction towards the crowd. But you have this analogy, this metaphor of a harvest and of laborers, and the question is, well, what's the harvest? Who's the harvest? I think it's very clear in this passage. You've likely already picked up on it. It's those out in the world today who are wandering around like sheep without a shepherd. It's those who don't know Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. And I think I may have talked about this before, but this year 2020, with everything that's going on, as wild and as crazy as it has been, maybe one of the positive aspects of this year is the fact that maybe now more than ever, those folks who are searching for something more, who are searching for a deeper meaning in life, maybe this is an opportunity to really connect with them and share with them the message and the gospel of Jesus Christ. So the harvest are those in the world who don't yet know Jesus as Lord and Savior, and the laborers are, well, you've probably picked up on this by now. The laborers are you and me. It's those Christians who are willing to go out into the world and to share our faith. Now that's a heavy load to bear, right? That your responsibility and my responsibility is to go out into the world and share the gospel with folks. And I think it can be very easy for us to shirk that responsibility, to push it to the side and say, no, that's the pastor's job, that's this person's job, that's that person's job. But hear me today, Christian. As a follower of Jesus Christ, you are called to go out into the world, into the harvest, if you will, and to labor, to share Jesus Christ with your neighbor, the neighbor that doesn't yet know Christ. Now, that can have a lot of implications, and we can kind of get afraid of doing that because, as I said, that seems like a heavy load to bear. It doesn't mean that you have to go and stand on the side of the corner and preach and reason with people, even though that's not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't mean that you have to do something like that. What it does mean is that you and I are called to live in a way that points back to Christ. You see, it doesn't mean that you have to quit your day job to accomplish this. What it does mean is that where you do work, it means that you live unashamedly for Jesus Christ. It means that you live in a way where people can look at you and look at your life and say, that person has a legitimate relationship with Jesus, and they're legitimately following in his footsteps, seeking to live as he lived. Guys, as Jesus says, the harvest is plentiful. There are tons and tons of folks right outside our walls, right outside our doors, who are seeking for meaning in life, who are seeking for answers in life. And it's our responsibility as Christians, and what we say and what we do. It doesn't have to be big, grand, large things. As a matter of fact, the best testimony it seems that we can have in this life is for those who are around us to see us constantly and consistently live out the gospel. And so that's my challenge to you, to realize that it's not just your pastor that's the laborer. It's not just this person or that person. It's you. And it's a call to live as Christ's disciples, so that those who don't know him may truly come to embrace him as both Lord and Savior. Friends, as always, I pray that you have a fantastic rest of your week. And if there's anything I can do for you, any prayers that you'd like to comment down below or shoot my way, please don't hesitate to do so.